I've been a urologist for over 25 years, and I thought I had seen it all. But a few years ago, something happened that honestly caught me off guard. It wasn't a patient this time, it was me. I started waking up feeling slower, heavier, like my body just wasn't responding the way it used to. Not pain, not illness, just this quiet drop in energy, weaker circulation, and yes, changes that most men over 60 don't like to talk about, but feel every single day. At first, I did what most doctors do. I looked for quick fixes. I tried the usual prescriptions, adjusted my diet, even followed some of the same advice I'd been giving patients for years. And I'll be honest with you, some things worked a little, for a short time, but nothing really addressed what was actually going wrong underneath. That was the frustrating part, because deep down I knew this wasn't just aging. Then something clicked, and I still remember that moment clearly. I realized I had been focusing on symptoms, just like everyone else. Energy, performance, stamina, but not the root. The truth is, most men misunderstand what's really happening after 60. It's not just hormones, it's not just stress, it's circulation. Specifically, how your body produces and uses something called nitric oxide. And what surprised me the most was how something simple, almost overlooked, could influence that process in a very real way. I started experimenting. Small changes, natural combinations. Most of them didn't do much, I'll admit that, but one mixture, beetroot, ginger, lemon, and raw cacao, that's when I started to notice something different. Not overnight, not dramatic, but steady, undeniable changes. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I discovered, why this combination works in a way most people don't understand, and the key mistakes that can stop it from working for you. If you're over 60 and you felt that slow decline, stay with me, because what I'm about to share might change how you see your body. And number 3, honestly, it's the one I almost ignored at first. It didn't seem that important, but in the end, it made the biggest difference in how this entire system works. If you're curious where it comes from and how to use it properly, I've put the details down in the description below. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something simple. How old are you? I read every comment, and it helps me understand what you're going through. Go ahead and drop your age below. Now let's get into the most important part, the core step of this morning mix. This is where raw cacao, beetroot, ginger, and lemon start working together. And this is the moment your circulation begins to respond, sometimes faster than you'd expect. 1. The real cause after 60, it's not age. Let me start with something simple, so simple that most men ignore it completely. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for coffee, try this instead. Drink a warm glass of water with a squeeze of fresh lemon, then take a slow 5 to 10 minute walk, even if it's just around your house. It sounds almost too basic to matter, I know, but what you're doing in that moment is gently waking up your blood vessels and signaling your body to start producing something called nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide might sound technical, but think of it this way. It's the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. When those vessels open, blood flows more easily, oxygen reaches your muscles and organs, and your body starts to feel more alive again. The problem is after 60, your body naturally produces less of it, and your vessels become stiffer over time. That's when you start noticing the real changes. Slower mornings, lower energy, weaker circulation, and a gradual loss of responsiveness that many men assume is just aging. But here's what's interesting. Small daily actions that stimulate nitric oxide can actually improve how your blood vessels function. In controlled trials, simple lifestyle interventions that support nitric oxide production have been associated with improvements in blood flow of up to 20 to 30%, especially in older adults. And what surprised me personally was this. When circulation improves, you don't just feel more energetic, you also support other functions that depend on strong blood flow, including cardiovascular health and physical performance. So here's how I recommend you use this. Every morning, start with warm water and lemon, then move your body gently for at least 5 to 10 minutes, and most importantly, be consistent. Don't expect a dramatic change overnight because this works through accumulation, day by day, quietly improving how your system responds. And once you understand this foundation, the next step becomes much more powerful. Because what you add next can amplify this effect in ways most men never realize. 2. The one thing that changes everything. Now let me show you the one thing that changes everything, and this is where most men start to feel a real shift. After you've done that simple morning activation we just talked about, this is what I want you to add. 1 cup of warm raw cacao mixed with a small amount of beetroot. It may sound like an old-world remedy, something traditional, but what surprised me is how closely it aligns with what we now understand in modern vascular science. Raw cacao has been used for centuries in ancient cultures for stamina and endurance, but today we know why. It contains compounds called flavonols, especially epicatechin, which directly stimulate your body's ability to produce nitric oxide inside the blood vessels. At the same time, beetroot works through a completely different pathway, providing dietary nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide through your digestive system. When you combine these two, you're not just boosting one mechanism, you're activating 2 separate systems that converge on the same result: improved blood flow. What makes this even more interesting is the data behind it. In clinical settings, cacao flavonols have been associated with improvements in endothelial function by up to 30%, while beetroot-derived nitrates have shown increases in blood flow efficiency and reductions in blood pressure by around 10 to 20%. But here's the part many men don't realize. As you age, your natural nitric oxide production declines and your blood vessels become less responsive. That creates a risk not just for fatigue, but for long-term vascular issues that quietly build over time. So here's exactly how to use this. Start with 1 tablespoon of raw cacao powder and half a teaspoon of beetroot powder in warm water or milk, taken in the morning after your initial routine. If you're new, begin with half that amount for the first 3 to 5 days to let your system adjust, then gradually increase to the full dose. The consistency matters more than intensity here because the effect builds over time as your vascular system becomes more responsive. And once you understand how these 2 ingredients work together, the next step takes this to an entirely different level because there's a way to extend and amplify this effect far beyond what most people expect. 3. Why mixing it makes it powerful. Now this is where things start to feel different. Not weeks from now, but sometimes within hours. When you add a small amount of ginger to that cacao and beetroot mix, you introduce a compound called gingerol, and this is where the effect becomes more immediate. Gingerol interacts with your blood vessels and nervous system in a way that helps trigger faster vasodilation, meaning your vessels relax more quickly and blood begins to move with less resistance. Here's the process in simple terms. Cacao and beetroot are building nitric oxide through 2 pathways, but ginger helps your body use that signal faster. It stimulates receptors that increase circulation and slightly raise body temperature, which naturally pushes blood flow outward. In human trials, ginger has been associated with measurable improvements in blood circulation and vascular responsiveness within a few hours, while separate studies have shown increases in exercise endurance and oxygen utilization by up to 15 to 20% when circulation improves efficiently. What I find particularly interesting is how this translates into real-world performance. Men often report feeling warmer, more alert, and physically responsive not long after taking this combination, especially in the morning. And yes, some people notice a slight heat sensation or mild tingling. That's not a side effect to worry about. That's actually a sign your circulation is activating and your vessels are responding. If anything, it tells you the system is working. Now, if you're concerned about taste or sensitivity, here's how to approach it. Start with just a small pinch of ginger powder, about 1/8 teaspoon, mixed into your cacao and beetroot drink, and take it in the morning or early afternoon. Give your body a few days to adapt, then you can increase to 1/4 teaspoon if it feels comfortable. The key here is consistency, because you're getting a dual benefit. a faster, noticeable response in the short term, and a gradual strengthening of your vascular system over time. And once you have this faster activation in place, the next step becomes even more powerful, because there's a way to protect and sustain these effects longer than most people realize. 4. Extending the effect. Most men miss. This next step might sound a little unusual, even a bit strong at first. I want you to add a small amount of Ceylon cinnamon to your mix, and not for flavor, but for what it does deep inside your blood vessels. The key compound here is cinnamaldehyde, and what it does is not just increase blood flow, it actually helps protect and sustain the signal that keeps your vessels open. Here's what's happening underneath. Earlier we talked about nitric oxide, but what most people don't realize is that nitric oxide is fragile. It gets broken down quickly by oxidative stress and high blood sugar, especially after 60. Cinnamaldehyde works through intermediate pathways that improve insulin sensitivity and reduce glycation, which is the process where sugar damages your blood vessel walls. In controlled studies, cinnamon has been associated with improvements in insulin sensitivity by up to 20 to 30% and reductions in fasting blood glucose by around 10 to 15%, both of which directly support healthier vascular function. Now, why does that matter for you? Because this doesn't just affect major blood flow, it also improves microcirculation, the tiny vessels that deliver oxygen to your nerves and tissues. When those are impaired, you start noticing real symptoms: numbness in the hands or feet, slower healing, that dull, heavy feeling in your body. By protecting both large vessels and microvascular pathways, this step helps your system not just open, but stay open longer. Here's how to use it properly. Start with 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon added to your morning drink, and after a week, you can increase to 1/2 teaspoon if your body responds well. Always mix it into warm liquid, not boiling, because excessive heat can degrade some of the active compounds and reduce absorption. And one important note, make sure it's Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia, because cassia contains higher levels of coumarin, which can be stressful on the liver with long-term use. When you combine this with everything we've built so far, you're not just increasing blood flow, you're stabilizing and protecting it. And in the next step, I'm going to show you what I consider the most powerful addition of all, because it activates a completely different pathway that most men have never even heard of. 5. The most overlooked trigger in your mouth. This next step may sound unusual, and honestly, most men have never heard a doctor talk about it this way. I want you to slow down and hold your drink in your mouth for about 10 to 15 seconds before swallowing, especially when it contains beetroot. It feels almost too simple to matter, but this is where a powerful compound process begins, and skipping this step can reduce the entire effect more than you'd expect. The key here isn't just what you drink, it's what happens before it even reaches your stomach. Beetroot contains nitrates, but those nitrates need to be converted into nitrites by bacteria that live on the back of your tongue. From there, nitrites are transformed into nitric oxide inside your body, and that's what opens your blood vessels. Studies have shown that disrupting this oral conversion process, even by using strong antibacterial mouthwash, can reduce nitric oxide production by over 60% and significantly blunt improvements in blood pressure and circulation. Now think about what that means for you. If this step is working properly, you're supporting both large blood flow and microcirculation, helping oxygen reach not just major organs, but also the tiny vessels in your hands, feet, and nerves. When it's not working, you may notice subtle signs: cold extremities, tingling, slower healing, or that heavy, sluggish feeling that doesn't go away. This isn't just about performance, it's about how efficiently your entire vascular system is functioning. Here's how to apply it correctly. Take your morning mixture, let it sit in your mouth for 10 to 15 seconds, then swallow slowly, allowing the process to begin. If you're new to this, start naturally without forcing it, and over a few days, become more intentional with the timing. Also, try to avoid using strong antiseptic mouthwash right before or after, because it can disrupt the bacteria needed for this conversion. This step may feel small, but but it changes how your body activates everything you've already built. And now, we're ready for the final piece, the one that ties all of this together and amplifies it in a way most men never expect. 6. The final upgrade that ties everything together. This is the strongest step in the entire system, and if you only remember one thing from this video, let it be this. I want you to add a small amount of fresh lemon peel or a thin slice of whole lemon into your drink, not just the juice. It may sound like a minor detail, but the compound we're targeting here is hesperidin, a citrus flavonoid that works differently from everything we've used so far, and it plays a critical role in how your blood vessels stay flexible and responsive. Here's a simple way to understand it. Think of your blood vessels like elastic tubes. Over time, they become stiff and less responsive, especially after 60. Hesperidin helps restore that flexibility by improving endothelial function and supporting the signaling pathways that allow vessels to expand and contract smoothly. In clinical observations, citrus flavonoids like hesperidin have been associated with improvements in vascular function by over 30% and measurable increases in microcirculation efficiency, which directly impacts how oxygen reaches your tissues. What makes this even more compelling is how it compares to conventional approaches. While medications often force a temporary response, hesperidin works more like restoring the elasticity of the system itself, allowing your body to respond naturally. Some comparative data suggest that consistent intake of citrus flavonoids can significantly support blood flow regulation over time without the sharp spikes or dependency patterns often seen with pharmaceutical options. Now here's how to prepare it correctly. Use a thin slice of fresh lemon with the peel intact, or lightly grate a small amount of organic lemon zest into your warm drink, not boiling, ideally around 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so you preserve the active compounds. Take it once daily in the morning, and if you're new, start with a smaller amount for the first few days to let your system adjust. The key is consistency, because this isn't a quick fix. It's a daily habit that gradually restores how your vascular system functions. And this is the part I want you to remember. Your body hasn't lost its ability to respond. It's just been missing the right signals. This entire system is simple, low cost, and built on real biological mechanisms, not shortcuts. No drugs, no extremes, just consistent science-backed support that helps your body do what it was designed to do. If you found this helpful, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. In the next videos, I'm going to walk you through simple, science-based ways to support circulation, energy, and overall vitality after 60. Not with complicated routines or expensive solutions, but with methods that actually fit into your daily life. We'll break down what truly works, what most men get wrong, and how small changes, done consistently, can make a real difference over time. I'll also share practical routines you can follow at home, along with insights from clinical experience that I've seen work again and again with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. If you're at that stage where you feel your body slowing down, or you just want to stay strong, active, and in control of your health, this channel is for you. You don't need to accept decline as inevitable. You just need the right approach. So take a second, hit subscribe, and join me. And as always, thank you for spending your time here with me today.